Yeah. John,
how's the lighting? All right.
the lighting is good. The lighting is good. So yeah. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, really excited about the single and the album. It's years of bashing away at the music, you know.
Wow.
And this is like the fruition of behind the scenes. Everybody's always known me for the acting, but I've incorporated the music in the acting sometimes. But yeah, so pretty excited. Yeah, so hoping people are going to love it, you know.
So before we
have
start,
you heard anything?
Well, what I was going to say was before we start, because I know who you are. A lot of other people know who you are. I'm going to do it terribly I'm going to do it in the style of Cilla Black, which is just terrible. Yeah. What's your name and what do you do? Just for those people who don't know.
My name is John Altman. I'm an actor. I'm also known as Johnny Altman, my rock and roll persona. And I've been in the biz for about 40 years.
Brilliant. So how would you like to refer you to as Johnny today, or as
Johnny today, because we're discussing discussing the music, aren't we? And yeah.
So Johnny, you've come out with a song. It's not just a single. Is it actually an album that you've recorded?
Yeah, the single's coming out on the 16th in the video, and then on the 20th of November, the whole album's coming out. 12 original tracks written over the past 20 years. Yes, so it's kind of autobiographical, if you like, a bit of an anthology. You know, I mean, the songs are inspired by various things along the way. My memories of my student days, having my heart broken. Loathing of Robert Mugabe, who ruined the beautiful country of Zimbabwe. I wrote a song about him. One of the characters, I suppose, called Twisted Mind. It's all about, you know, these awful people that lead countries and then drag them down with their insane dictatorship.
So as you say, is that you're an actor, and obviously that's something that you've known for. So suddenly for you to go into this isn't a sudden thing. Has this always kind of been there in terms of the background for yourself, where you've always wanted to sing, or you've always sang, but suddenly you've had this desire where you want your stuff recorded so people can re-listen to it again and again and again and again?
Yes, it's always been there, actually. From an early age, I learned to play the drums. I probably I was in the school choir. I was in a choir. Yeah, I sang at school, obviously, and so just over the years, I taught myself to play guitar, and then I was in a rock theatre group where you had to play a couple of instruments. So I played the drums and played guitar in the rock theatre group, and we toured around Europe. So it's a bit like being in a rock band on the road. Quite insane, some of it, you know. Over 18 years only. Some of it, but it was a great experience, and it was kind of my drama school as well. So when I got back to London in 1987, the year of the punk era, I formed a band called the Hitmen, and we played under the Westway down at Ladbroke Grove in various pubs on the Harrow Road in West 9, and Kansas Special Brew and spiked hair and leather jackets and all that kind of stuff. So
wait,
a bit of a punk, actually.
Wait, that was no messing around there. Special Brew. Come on, that's 9.5%. That isn't, your Carling or your Carlsberg. This is proper beer.
Yeah, Tennant Super Lager as well. Yeah, I don't drink anymore. My brother still drinks, but you're hard put to find a good strong lager these days, because he likes one called Kestrel and Tennant. And I was going to buy him a pack, before I went down the other week. I couldn't find it anyway. It's like there's some sort of, the state have even got to the selling of lager, maybe too many people are going bonkers, we're going mad on it. But strong gear. I know I used to like to drink like 12 pints and I'm a man, I am, and all that. So I just like to have 2 cans and get there quickly. Yeah.
Are you
anyway, we're digressing from the music.
Yeah.
It was the punk band, the Hitmen, went on to another band called Resurrection, and a couple of the tracks on the album were written with the people that I work with on there, Ewan and Brady, who worked with Reckless Eric, and a guy called Phil Brown, who was in a band called The Records. So a couple of the single was written with myself and those 2 guys, Hallucinating You. And then we disbanded. And then I joined this is cutting long stories short, joined the Heavy Metal Kids. It's like the rock and roll history. And I was lead singer with them for about a year. That was pretty mad and very loud. I had to wear earplugs in rehearsals because the lead guitarist, he wouldn't turn it down. And then after that, I met Mark Christopher Lee a few years later. I told him I had some music, and he said, "Oh, bring it up. Let's have a listen." Went up to the studio in Sandridge near St Albans, and he liked what he was hearing. So we said, "Well, why don't we record this track?" And that, and it just went on from there, really. And I think then he said, "Well, why don't we do an album?" So it organically grew, and we got on well. You know, we're quite different in some ways, but so he's got a band called the Pocket Gods, who are discovered by John Peel, the legendary John Peel, I believe. So he's yeah. So that's how it all came about, really. That was cutting a long story short.
So in terms of your kind of your themes that you kind of focus on, as you said, it's over a 20-year period with your songs and that. So Dictators, as you've said, there's a song about Robert Mugabe.
Well, one of the dictators. It's not specifically about him, but any other dictators as well. Yeah.
Okay. Does that include
it's called Twisted Mind?
Yeah. Does that include Saddam Hussein?
Do you know what? I think he should have stayed there. I know he was an evil bugger, but he kept the lid on all the warring factions in Iraq. If he was still there, a lot of people wouldn't. A lot of English Animags and Iraqis would still be alive. Yeah, a rule of fear, but even though I saw an Iraqi speak, and that's why I wrote Twisted Mind, because I get quite involved politically with things, you know, and sometimes I get worked up by it, and I watch all the news channels like Al Jazeera. I watch RT, the Russian channel, Chinese, French channel, Sky and the BBC are okay. There's a lot of stuff they miss out, you know. I mean, what they choose to put out. And anyway, so where were we?
Well, what I was going to ask you was, in terms of dictators, I'm going to give you the name, and you can give me a rating as to how bad you think they are. So we'll start with one, which Donald Trump. What about him?
It amused me yesterday. There was a guy being interviewed who wrote a book about him. I think he was sent to prison because of it. I don't know. I'm like, can I get back to you on that one? He said, when they said, does Donald Trump have any redeeming features? He went, can I get back to you on that one? That made me laugh. He said, I don't know. I'm every time he comes on the television, I'm aghast at what he's saying, what he's doing. So I'd probably give him 99%, I think. Yeah.
But in terms of other things, I mean, it's kind of funny because, like, you and me, we've been trying to communicate via Skype, and we're both kind of thinking, are we connected? Are we not connected? Do you also kind of see that as a kind of a dictatorship itself? You know, people like Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, and, you know, that whole kind of thing of not controlling perhaps in terms of information that is relayed to us and what we do see. And obviously it has a big influence as to the decision making that we do.
Yeah, I think it's all got a bit too much, actually, and it's kind of good in some ways. Like if you take a picture in some tiny country village out in Surrey of your girlfriend or something, and then 5 minutes later it says, ding dong on the wall, Surrey. You think, how on earth do who knows I'm here? You know, so it's and also you order, like I ordered a Burt Bacharach CD, for example. It's not. I've got a copy here somewhere. Yeah, but it's not something I'd normally buy. So the next thing you know, you've got Amazon saying, "Would you like some more Burt Bacharach CDs?" No, thanks. You know, and so yeah, there's a lot of intrusion. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, really, isn't it? The internet and all the rest of it. Our techno world, and the hours I have wasted on this very laptop trying to get it going for some reason. There's somebody on the other end who knows all about it. Yeah, he's bamboozled as well, trying to set something up. Even trying to set this Skype up probably took ages. So, but I try and learn to. It's a sort of love-hate relationship, really. I could do without it. I remember reading Roger Daltrey of The Who. He doesn't do any Instagrams or Twitters or Facebook. He gets somebody else to do it. I wish I could do that, but I am what I am, and here I am. So
are you slowly kind of embracing that whole technology element anyway, generally, for yourself?
You know, I probably learn more than I think I've learned, actually, and every week I'm learning something. I mean, I've never really used Instagram, but with a good friend of mine, Rachel Doyle, who does my website, she's put me through the paces of the steps of how to send photos off, videos off, hashtagging and all that, which I didn't really know about. To be honest, I'm so busy all the time, I didn't really have time to do that. But because the single's going out, I thought I'd better get involved.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
So you
for business,
I mean, that's one of the themes that you kind of talk of. On your album, is it also about broken relationships again? Well, when I say again, I'm not kind of saying that that's something that's all you go through is broken relationships. But is that a theme within the album as well?
Yeah, I mean, most people. I think Taylor Swift wrote a brilliant album, didn't she, after after she broke up with her boyfriend and went off and wrote this album, and it was brilliant. And I think that Fleetwood Mac Rumours was all about the relationships within the band, wasn't it? So yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of the songs are about snippets of relationships that I've had, yeah, over the years, yeah. And the opening track's called "Looking for the Love of My Life" because Mark Christopher Lee sent me this instrumental track, and he said, "Can you put some lyrics to it?" So I left it on the shelf for a couple of weeks, and I've got it out. And I thought, oh, I really like what it was. And I thought, now where am I at the moment? I'm single, and yeah, looking for the love of my life still, I guess, you know. And so I just started to write the song. I always start with the title, and then get my mind, like as an actor, into the frame of mind of the title. There's another one called "Outrageous," which I wrote for all the student population. I thought we got a hostel just next door, and I thought, you know, it's like they're like on the weekend, like I haven't got a lot of money, you know. Well, what are we going to do, man? I don't know. Oh no, let's do something outrageous, yeah. You know, so yeah, that's a good idea. We're going to do. Let's get out there and do it, you know. So I wrote this song called "Let's Do Something." Actually, it's originally called "Outrageous," but we couldn't put that out really. It's quite a catchy tune. So it's all about the most outrageous things that students would do. You know.
I was going to go back to Cilla Black and go. So what do you look for in your partner? Where you talk about looking for the love of your life. What kind of things do you think? What are you looking for?
Well, gosh, I think they would have to be tidy, and I like a pleasant voice as well. The voice, I think the voice counts for a lot. I tend to veer towards blue-eyed blonde ladies. I think that's my favourite thing. Yeah. So and somebody who likes movie soundtracks, perhaps. A good swimmer.
Well, is that in case?
There are many things. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just wondered. So do you do a lot of swimming yourself then? When you say a good swimmer, or is this just the fact that you like to watch them swim?
So we could enjoy swimming together, scuba diving, or you know, whatever. Yeah, wild water swimming. You know, yeah, wherever. Because swimming's my sport, so it'd be nice to share it with somebody.
And have you used those apps like, you know, Tinder and whatever they are? And, no. Were you just swiping away?
Hey.
Were you swiping away, going, no, blonde hair, I need blonde hair. Where's blonde hair?
No, I never have. No, and the thing that stopped me is because of the position I'm in, I suppose. You know, and I mean, the crux matter is I wouldn't know if somebody was getting in touch with me because they wouldn't be getting in touch because it was me. They'd be getting in touch because of EastEnders or whatever, and think maybe they're going to get a date with Nick Cotton, which couldn't be further from from reality, you know. Well, so, yeah.
I mean, I will talk about your character Nick Cotton slightly later. Just really in terms of the songs and that, the first single, obviously, that's you're releasing, which is Hallucination. Is it kind of obviously a lot of metaphors in there in terms of the impact that when you hear of the word hallucination, straight away you tend to think of drugs, you know, alcohol, that whole kind of element of escapism.
Oh no, yeah, no.
Yeah, you know, is there an element of that, or is it? Or you kind of?
No, not at all. No, it's got nothing to do with that at all whatsoever. It's called Hallucinating You, actually.
Okay.
And it's basically, you know, I'm not sure you've had it. You're walking down the street and you see this. Maybe you think it's your brother or your sister or a lady that you know or a guy you know, and you run and catch them up. They look exactly the same from behind, and then when you look, you know, like you might see this beautiful lady with like long flowing hair and what looks like a perfect figure. Catch them up, and they're about 75, 80, you know. So it's imagining, hallucinating, imagining you're seeing somebody and it's not them. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah.
And for you, again, did you just kind of, you came out with that title and then started to write?
Yeah. Well, I think it was because I was going out with this girl and I was thinking about her all the time. So sometimes I'd be in town. Oh, is that her? Oh no, it's not. Because I was thinking about her so much. I was imagining that I was seeing her, occasionally. Yeah, but it wasn't. Yeah.
But in terms of your own musical influences, what are they?
Oh gosh. Well, you probably hear it in the album because each track is very different. I mean, there's one track called Eyes So Blue, which when after we recorded it, we thought it sounded like an early Rolling Stones track. It's kind of bluesy, quite laid back. So that was probably, if it was, it did sound like the early Stones because that probably got into my head, subconsciously. So there are many influences. I mean, I probably started off with Elvis, the Beatles, Bowie, the Who, Jimi Hendrix, Sex Pistols, even like the Pet Shop Boys, Roxy Music. More recently, Joe Bonamassa. I really got into. Did I say Jimi Hendrix, who I met? Yeah.
Gosh.
So over the years, I mean, all that, like the prime years of rock and pop music, I suppose, have all gone into my head. I've been very lucky to be born when I was born.
Wow.
So I was born a rock and roller in the 50s, So I've even got a slightly hip 50s hairstyle. If this comes out as a bit of a quiff.
I was going to say, you look amazing because how old are you? If you want to share that.
Yeah, I don't mind. I've got to be honest, haven't I? I'm 68. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you look amazing. Have you got any tips that you kind of that you or what hair shade you're using or anything like that?
No. I've got a bit grey around the edge there now because I put gel in. I just had a shower, but all I can say is the number one thing is my mother always looked younger than she was, and I think my dad always used to say, "Oh, thank God you got your mother's hair, my boy," because my dad's hair was quite thin. But over the years, I try to keep fit. I used to do a lot of running. I did a couple of marathons, swimming, cycling, and I stopped drinking and smoking, though I did enjoy those very much. I haven't had a cigarette for about 15, 16 years. Alcohol, no drink for the last 23 years. So I had a 25-year party and it had to stop. It was very nice for a while, but there's a time when you just think that's enough, and I wasn't really enjoying it anymore. So no ciggies, no alcohol. I take about 10 or 12 vitamins every morning, like a slow release Vit C, vitamin D, which I was told was good to ward off the coronavirus. Stuff like ginger, ginseng, some calcium for the bones, because I'm getting on a bit. And what else? And sleep. And I'll finish on this, don't want to bore people, but sleep is so important. I've been reading up on sleep a lot recently, and people don't realise when they're burning the candle at both ends, as the old saying goes. Like, young people working in the city, only getting 4 or 5 hours sleep, and then partying it up on the weekend. Even if you're young, your body can only take that for so long before it goes, I've had enough, So, but as I live quite a normal life, I suppose now, regarding my diet and all the rest of it, and no alcohol. The sleep is so important. My mother used to say, your body's like a steam engine. You've got to put some water and some fuel in there, and also let the engine cool down, i.e. the sleep. And so I reading up on it, Roger Federer, he swears by 10 hours sleep a night if he can get it. So he didn't do too badly in the tennis world, did he?
I tell you what, that's where I'm going wrong. I need to get some more sleep in to stay younger, I think. So you mentioned Jimi Hendrix. You mentioned Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
So come on. Well, that must have been in the times where you were partying hard and only getting 2 hours sleep.
Well, no, I haven't quite ventured into those realms yet. I think I was still at school. That's at school days. I was about 16, I think. Yeah. And amazing. I mean, he was on a tour with the Pink Floyd, a band called The Nice, Amen Corner, and someone called P.P. Arnold. And it was just at the end of those, they used to put out rock long before your time. They put out a package tour, and like they do with the sort of sounds of the 60s things these days. But then you'd have big names all going around together, like the Beatles toured with Roy Orbison and the Ronettes, and somebody called Tommy Quickly who was going to be a big star, but he never was. And so he was on this package tour. We bunked off school, my friends and I, Paul Fitch and a guy called Roger Jarrett. I mean, this tour appeared in Chatham. I've got Hendrix, eyewitness Hendrix up there every day of his life, just about. And it was back in 1967. I think it was the 31st of November. Anyway, it was near Christmas, and we managed to we got there in the morning, and we got backstage, and we helped them in with all the gear, which there wasn't much of in those days. And then they locked all the doors, so we were locked backstage with the Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix, and all the rest of them. And so I had this little tape recorder, which I used to carry around, a little reel-to-reel, should interest you, a 1 7/8 IPS Phillips job. And I went around interviewing everybody, interviewed Pink Floyd. And then we found Hendrix' dressing room up the stairs. I went up there and just went in there. I said, do you mind if you say a few words? He went, no, go ahead, whatever, it's okay, So I had a little chat with him and recorded that. He showed some cine film on the wall of the dressing room. I would love, if anybody's listened to this and they found it anywhere, to know, probably in the chaos of his tragic demise, they might have got thrown away, but he was doing a lot of cine stuff in those days. That was the sort of early video camera stuff, and so I'd love to know where it went. And what he showed on the wall was a bit like his music, so powerful and colourful. Was like the sun burning through the sky, red ball through a silhouette of black trees, and the next shot was a guy drilling the road up in London somewhere, all this dust flying everywhere, So it's like his visual eye was a bit like his amazing guitar sound, And so I just love to know what you could. It would make a great movie if they could find it all. And he was also filming everybody else, like all the other stars of the tour. And he was just really lovely. He was really laid back. I was slightly nervous about meeting him, but he was really chilled out, Yeah. And he had his new record, Axis Boulder's Love, which was just about to be released. So my friends and I thought we might get a free copy. We said, could you give us a copy, Jim? He went, no, I tell you what you do. It's real easy. You go down Oxford Street, okay? There's a sign that says HMV, and you go in there and you buy one.
Have you still got the audio recording?
I have.
No way! Wow! What are you going to do with it?
Singing and selling it one time, but yeah, I don't know. It all kind of fizzled out, The guy, I still got it stashed away, yeah. And I've also got it on a CD as well, just in case it faded, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the last thing he said, Jimmy, was take it easy, be good as bunnies. They do all day.
Wow.
He loved the ladies, bless his heart. And losing people like him and John Lennon, oh God, yeah, rock and roll tragedies. Yeah, and you think what they might have produced, their amazing talent, what they might have produced if they hadn't been snuffed out, so to speak.
You also, obviously, you talk about the Beatles having a massive influence on you, because you actually played the role of George Harrison. Am I right?
Yeah. That was... That just came up because I took my picture around Soho when I was first starting out in the acting business in London, and I dropped it in Beth and Esther Charkham's office at the Queen's Theatre off Shaftesbury Avenue, and they just pinned my picture to the wall, and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll look out for something for you, Johnny." So I was stomping the streets looking for work, and then they got the name in that they needed to cast, and they looked up on the wall. Oh, John might. And I'd done Quadrophenia before. That's right. I'd met them through doing that, although. Patsy Pollock cast Quadrophenia, but I'd met Beth and Esther through them, and so yeah, they put me up for it, and it was quite a slow process because we had to do like a read, then we did a Polaroid, and then we had to do a video, and it was all sent back to Los Angeles. Luckily, I had some old Beatles Christmas discs that had George talking on there, what I mean, So it's quite sort of laid back, George's voice, and so I kind of imitated that, and then watched all the stance that he took. He was always sort of slightly crouched over there with his guitar as he played. So watched the videos that I could get and then they sent it. Then we had to go and film it, and then they sent it back to Los Angeles. And yeah, I don't know how long it was. A week or so later, I got a call that I'd got the part. I was like, oh wow, what a dream, because I just loved the Beatles, and I had to have a favourite Beatle in the playground, as you do, like have a favourite football team, Who's your favourite Beatle, John? I said, I think George, because I thought I looked like him a bit, the ears and back when I was younger. And,
I thought it might have been Ringo because you played the drums.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't have the nose for it. No.
So, just coming back to your album and the launch of the single itself. What are the days when the single's been launched?
The Hallucinating You in the video is out a week this coming Thursday. Yeah, Yeah, Hallucinating You. Yeah, 16th of October, and the album's out on the 20th of November, which is called "It's Never Too Late to Rock and Roll."
Brilliant. So I'm going to just touch on a few other things. You obviously recently you did the Real Marigold Hotel. Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. How did you find that whole experience?
Amazing, because I'd been out to India 50 years before and suddenly got this gig on that show. I just wanted to check something here. I'm not. Oh yeah, I've got one coming up at 11 as well. Okay, so I'll have to check out before that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, how much? What do you need? Your 5-minute warning, or 10-minute warning, or 15-minute warning?
Before I leave.
Yeah. What warning do you need, so I can tell you the time? What the time is.
Oh, okay. I've got a clock here.
Oh, you've got a clock.
I probably got about another 5 minutes or so.
5 minutes. Come on, then. Well, look, we'll quickly talk. I was going to talk about the Real Marigold Hotel.
I'll try and get my answers short. Yeah, great experience. As I said, 50 years later, and with a wonderful bunch of people. We're all so different, and just a different way to see India. Because the time I did it before, I was a hitchhiking 17-year-old, young innocent lad abroad. And so to have somewhere to stay, proper to stay, and also going up to Rishikesh was a wonderful experience. Yeah.
And did that
in the Himalayas?
Has that kind of got you in tune with your spiritual side?
India did, yes, very much. Because I brought up Church of England, but when I got out there, I was reading about the Hindu religion and Buddhism. I read about and Muslim faith. I think what I kind of thought, I'd call myself a Christian now, I suppose, still, as I was brought up that way, I do tend to think that the basis of every form of religion, every faith, is the same, the God, the Almighty One, if you like. I think they all boil down to the same thing in the end, but we just have different messengers that were put on our planet, to let us know. So yeah, I have what I call a higher power. So I meditate and pray in the morning and at night, and I find that keeps me pretty solid, actually. Yeah, it's it gives me strength in times of trouble.
I was going to say, because there's that whole thing, and maybe kind of going into EastEnders. EastEnders was amazing. As soon as anyone said, Nasty Nick, I bet, or Nick Cotton, that was it. Yeah, I bet people didn't even know your real name. I bet people met you in the street. It was like, you Nick Cotton. You're like, no, it's John Altman. Come on. How was that whole experience for you?
I found it quite irritating when they shouted out Nick Cotton. I thought, why didn't you read the credits on the screen? They go so quickly. They probably wouldn't have known. It was a learning curve, but luckily I was over 30 when I started doing it. And so I kind of learned to live with it. But it was quite irritating sometimes, people shouting out Nick Cotton. I don't mind people coming up, but when people shout stuff at you, it's kind of sort of irks you a bit. If they come up, hi, someone comes up and says, "Oh, John Altman, yeah, nice to meet you. Really enjoyed." Then it's great, But when they shout out Nick, it can still be quite irritating. Yeah. But I guess that's the way it is, Yeah,
I bet the line was, "Hello, Ma."
It was. Hello, Ma. Yeah, that's the cat. If I was a comedian, that'd be the catchphrase, wouldn't it? Up in Blackpool, they'd have funny Billy, and his catchphrase underneath. Yeah. All right, Ma. Yeah.
Did you have that whole thing of whereby suddenly you were just thrown into the limelight? I mean, the way it just took off. Suddenly, you probably were in the press all the time. It was all this thing of, I mean, you portrayed the villain. Fantastic, everyone knew straight away. Look, Nick Cotton, oh my gosh, it'd be that kind of thing. Was it a difficult thing for you to kind of break away from that as well, where with other work, because you were so kind of typecast, where somebody would go, listen, I'm doing this. And we've got John who can do it, and they go, "Oh no, we don't want John. He's just, the character he's done. He's brilliant.
That has been the case. That has been the case. Yeah, unfortunately. So some doors close and others open. I did do quite a lot in the 80s and the 90s. Other programs, some children's stuff, and I did a pilot for a really good piece called A Child in the Forest. So and in the theatre, I get to top the bill, like I told you, one of the greatest benefits of doing I call it the dead enders sometimes, because if anybody goes there and all jolly and happy, they're going to end up either dead or divorced or miserable, or their wife's run off with somebody. You know what I mean? So I remember a happy couple did come in one time, but they didn't last long. But anyway, yeah. So what was I saying? I digress. What were we saying before that?
So we were just talking about the character and obviously the impact that it had on you, and kind of the work that you may have got and that you weren't getting.
Oh yeah, Chicago the musical. I got because, once again, I had to do a couple of auditions because they had no idea that I sang, and so that was great. I did that for 2 years, about 525 of them. Don't know if you ever saw it. It was a brilliant show. So that was the first national tour. So yeah, from the point of view, getting jobs like that is good.
Yeah. What was your character ever based on anyone? Nick Cotton? Did you ever have anyone in your school?
Probably some things I got up to, plus in the early days in London, and also people that I met, around Ladbroke Grove, Notting Hill, or around London, I suppose. Yeah, in my younger days.
Yeah. Did you have much say in terms of the character and storyline, or was it very much a case of, in terms of obviously developing the character, you kind of put your nuances on it?
I mean, there's certain things that you can put in. Somebody asked me, where did the all right Ma come from? I think that probably was actually written in, and they just carried on using it, Or maybe things like the way he smoked his cigarette, remember? It's always like a bit like that.
Yeah.
Flicking away. So yeah, I mean, I had the character there on paper, and then I embellished it with other things. Yeah. Sometimes I put a line in as well, Occasionally, I was in the pub once with June, who plays Dot. She said, "Oh, isn't it lovely, dear? Valentine's Day. Oh, bless them. Look at those young lovers." And I said, "Yeah, the best thing about Valentine's Day was the massacre. St. Valentine's Day massacre. A whole load of gangsters were wiped out in a garage in Chicago, I think." Yeah. So yeah, you put things like that in, along the way. Yeah. Yeah. And June and I used to do that. We changed little bits of the script because so many writers, sometimes they wouldn't word it right, So we would think, "Oh no, that'll have to go," and then as long as we let them know in time, we could change some of it. Not a lot of it, but yeah, a certain amount, because we knew the characters so well. Yeah.
How did you manage to keep your sanity, in the sense of you're on this real high, everything's being thrown at you, people want you in terms of kind of work, and then you get that stage of, perhaps in terms of your life where you're kind of going, sorry, John, you can't have the role because of the characters being developed so much in terms of Nick. How do you, as a performer, because that's a big thing at the moment in terms of mental well-being, did you go through a big period of darkness, or did you kind of you rise above it, or?
Probably deep down, I would get highly irritated knowing that I could play, as you mentioned before, people like George Harrison or a Chicago lawyer, attorney. But I kind of overrode it, and with the belief that I would find other things to do, and the music along the way too kind of kept me going too. If I wasn't doing the acting, I could work with the guys, rehearse, do some gigs, rather than just sitting around moping at home. And that's why I wrote my book as well, in the nick of time, available from Audible now, because I've just done an audio version of it, and B7 Media, and there's a plug for the book. But that was something that just came about. As an actor, people said, how do you cope with lockdown? Well, being an actor, you've already been doing it quite a lot, on your own, at home, out of work. But I think also having my wife and daughter kept me, in the early days of EastEnders and throughout a lot of it, also kept me on the right footing, so to speak.
Brilliant. So for yourself, is there any desire to still do acting, or is this or musicals, or is it a case of no, I want to do more reality shows? I don't know. Are we going to see you on One Day Strictly, or I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, skating? I don't know. Or are you kind of No, this is an area that I really want to go into, is music, or will we see the ghost of Nick Cotton back in EastEnders somewhere? I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, you never know with soaps, do you?
Yeah.
Never say no, but I mean, he was officially killed off, but I'm sure they could find a way around that if they wanted to. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, the acting's still probably the main thing, but if we'll see how the music goes, things start rock and rolling along, then I would devote a year out to that. I'm doing a podcast play called The Unsinkable, about the war in the North Atlantic, playing a bosun, and so yeah, so I'm still doing the acting. I'm recording that next week. So life still goes on. Brilliant. In the acting world. Yeah.
And are you writing your own stuff, or are you doing other people's work?
What do you mean, drama wise?
Drama wise, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things on the shelf there, but
okay.
Nothing's come about as yet. Got a couple of children's books that I've written as well. One's called The Adventures of Professor Bubblelot. The other one's called The Little Lost Cloud, for the tiny ones. And I'm trying to get those off the ground as well. I don't stop.
maybe The Adventures of Nick.
yeah, a visual paperback. Yeah, something. Adventures of Nick. You want to like those comics? That'd be quite good, actually.
But listen, John, it's been absolutely wonderful. I'm aware, obviously, you've got other interviews. Thank you so much for taking time out. Really appreciate it. Just give us a reminder again of the single and the date that it's being released, so that people can hear it. Yeah.
Pleasure to talk to you, Vimal, and glad we got the technology sorted out at last. Yeah. And the single's coming out 16th of October, and the video of Hallucinating You, and the album, It's Never Too Late to Rock and Roll, 20th of November, just in time for Christmas. Okay.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, John.
Bless you. All the best.